am a vampire, I am a vampire, I am a vampire, I am a vampire.
Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to the newest episode of In English, Please. And before we get started, let me remind you that you can find the script on the video description. You can find the link over there. And we use this time a couple of words that you might find interesting, or maybe you just forgot. Okay. So, first of all, we used a lot of adjectives to describe appearance, but one of my favorites that we use is stunning. When somebody is stunning, this person is so beautiful that you are paralyzed by their beauty. Okay, you cannot move. They're so beautiful. They're stunning. Another one is gorgeous, which is another level of beautiful. It's like pretty, beautiful, gorgeous. Okay, we use those expressions. Another expression that we use is to overcome your fears. All right, that means that you are afraid of things, but you can leave these fears behind. Okay, you can overcome. You can be more than your fears. That's something that you fear. Okay, we use the term yandere, which is a Japanese term for somebody that is obsessed, somebody that loves you, but it's an obsession. All right. Another word that I love and that I use is the whole shebang. Okay, this expression, the whole shebang, it means everything that is included. Okay, you use the whole shebang. For example, if you're going to wear makeup, you can use, eyeliner, you can use primer, you can use different things, the whole shebang, everything, lipstick, the whole shebang. Another expression that we use is to get chills. Okay, when something gives you chills, it's, oh my god, so amazing that you feel that your hair stands. It's so amazing that you get chills. It's that sensation of ooh, that gives me chills. Another expression that we use, and this is a lot more common, coming of age stories that are coming of age stories. They deal with people becoming adults, teenager becoming adults. A lot of these stories deal with people that are in high school, maybe starting university, and they are coming of age stories. How do you grow up? Another one that we use is the word comfy. And when something is comfy, is a synonym for comfortable. Comfy, very, very comfy. Okay, these are a couple of the expressions that we use, the more complicated ones. All right. For now, thank you so much, and I hope that you enjoy this video and that you have a lot of fun. All right.
I am a vampire, I am a vampire, I have lost my fangs.
Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to the podcast where we talk about random things so you can practice your English. Welcome to In English, Please. I'm teacher Juan.
And I'm teacher Gilly.
And today we're going to be talking about something really interesting. We just finished the month of love and friendship. So, as you can imagine, we're going to be talking about love and friendship. Specifically, we're going to be talking about crushes. Now, what is a crush for you? In my case, a crush is somebody that you like, and that is probably a one-sided love, Sometimes I would say it's even a little bit of an obsession. And you, Gilly, what do you think is a crush?
Yeah, I totally agree with you about the obsession. For me, it is a romantic feeling that appears commonly in childhood or in early teens, and always in a platonic way.
Yeah, for sure. And it's I would say that it's a little bit obsessive. You are absolutely correct. Now, before we get started, I want you to think about what is the meaning of crush to you guys? Okay? Do you have any crushes right now? Did you have any crushes in the past? Are they real people or are they imaginary characters? Now, I just got married last year and I don't want to get sent to the doghouse. So, we're not going to be talking about real life crushes. I don't want to sleep on the couch. We're going to be talking about fantasy or imaginary crushes. The crushes that came from movies, cartoons, series, all of those things. And I know
Yeah.
you could consider this a little bit weird, but when we were kids and teenagers, I think that everybody usually has crushes on many different people. At least I did. In my case, I used to have crushes on a lot of different girls and women, ranging from cartoon characters to actresses and even imaginary characters sometimes. And you, did you have any crushes?
Of course, I had. I had crushes in my early adolescence. Like any teenager, once I started to like someone, I became totally obsessed with the person, investigating everything about them, printing a lot of images and decorating my pencil case. I would also decorate my room's mirror, even my bedroom room. I used to dream about all the guys I fell in love, all the guys. If they were actors, I would go to my nearest blockbuster and rent several titles where I knew they participated in. In case there were musicians, I dedicated entire afternoons to download and listen to their music and memorize the lyrics. Oh God, yes.
Oh my god, yes. I remember the times when you had to spend like 2 hours just to download a song using Addis. I think we just gave away our ages with that comment.
We are so old.
Yes. Anyways, let's get started. I think that one of the first crushes that I could remember when I was, I don't know, maybe like 11 or 12. This was one of my first crushes that I have memory of. And this person was Melissa Joan Hart from a TV program called Sabrina the Teenage Witch. There was actually a remake of Sabrina not long ago, but this was the original Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yes, the remake, of course. I remember. I tried to see it, but like a good old millennial that I am, I was terrified of this new version, which didn't seem like the one I used to watch as a teenager. You know, the first version of the late 90s was more like a comedy, and this one was quite a bit darker. This absolutely doesn't mean that I don't like darker things. It is just, it was very different from the memories I had with Melissa John Hart as Sabrina Spellman.
Yes, but it was okay-ish, this new version. Anyways, I
Yeah.
started watching Sabrina a bit late in the early 2000s. I was like 10 or 11. And I always remember that I found this girl absolutely stunning. She was so happy and she was always smiling. She had a big smile. And I think that one of the things that I liked the most was her voice. The
Her voice?
voice that they gave her, yeah, the voice that they gave her on the Spanish dub was just so cool. I don't know. I started rewatching the series a couple of months ago, and definitely the boys bring back all of those memories. Because actually the program is a little bit boring. I rewatched it and it's not very. It's good, but it's a little bit boring. Uh,
Yeah.
this person, Melissa Joan Hart, she also used to appear in a program called Clarice Explains It All. So yeah, she was one of my first crushes. She was gorgeous. What about you, Gilly? Do you remember your first crush?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I remember I was very in love with this actor, Elijah Wood, you know? For those who don't remember or don't know who he is, he's the actor who played Frodo in Lord of the Rings. I think that is his most well-known character. I used to go to the video rental near my grandma's house, and one time I rented a movie called The Faculty. The story pretty much sucked, but Elijah Wood was the protagonist, and for me, that was all that mattered. The movie was about a group of teenagers that discovered their teachers were possessed by aliens who tried to conquer the earth, and they needed to fight and survive, as always. A situation that obviously goes in that way, and we, the good humans, triumph over the bad aliens. Well, the thing is that I saw that movie 1,000 times, you know? I think you might remember a little bit of that because sometimes I made you watch it with me. In the end, the movie rental closed and they sold all the titles they had. And of course, I bought The Faculty. Curious fact, the format was VHS. I'm so freaking old. We are so freaking old.
Oh God, yes. I remember The Faculty. I don't know how many times I watched it with you. Oh God. And yes, it was a bad movie. The plot was so freaking silly. I don't even remember the special effects, but I remember that even for that time it looked so bad. But yeah, I remember all about Elijah Wood. He's well known as Frodo, as you said. But if I recall correctly, he was also in a TV series where he dressed up as a dog, or somebody appeared like dressed up as a dog. I think that Wilfred. I think that it was Wilfred or something like that.
Yes, and yes. Wilfred, what a good series it was. He didn't dress as a dog, you know? The dog was part of his mind. Elijah Wood was a lawyer with several mental issues, and after he tries to commit suicide several times with no success, his neighbor asked him to watch her pet, which Elijah saw him as a human, and this person he saw was in a dog costume, while everyone else saw him as a normal animal dog. Together, they had a lot of adventures where Wilfred teaches Elijah how to overcome his fears and accept the unpredictability and madness of the world that surrounds him.
Really?
Very beautiful series. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. I just remember the picture of this character dressed as a dog, and I think that I never watched that series. But you know, maybe I should watch it. It sounds amazing. It sounds insane.
I
It's pretty
recommend
cool.
it. Yes.
It's pretty cool. Anyways, another one of my crushes was, oh my god, this is a little bit embarrassing, but it was Misty from Pokemon. You know, when I watched Pokemon, I used to like two characters, Misty and May. Obviously, they were the first two characters, the female characters that appeared on Pokemon. And they were the characters that I grew up with, you know. When I started watching Pokemon, maybe I started when I was like 10 years old. I started watching from the first season. Those were the cartoons that were a big hit at the time. There was so much
Yeah.
anime during the 90s. Things like Sailor Moon, Sakura Card Captor, Slam Dunk, and things like that.
Oh my God, how to forget that? I used to love Sailor Moon. In fact, I had a crush on this character named Haruka, who was Sailor Uranus, and she was a very manly chick. But when she transformed into a Sailor Scout, she was very girly. That confused me a little bit because I only liked her when she was not a sailor and looked like a boy, you know? She had a partner, which was his beloved one, Sailor Neptune, I guess. She was a very, very beautiful girl who played the violin. How I love this couple. I was completely in love with the idea of the two of them together. They had such a beautiful relationship. They even died together in a very dramatic scene in which I cried like crazy. I think I was 10 or 11 years old.
Oh my God, yes, Sailor Moon. Just like Ranma, which was another cartoon anime from that time, they broke a lot of the stereotypes we had of relationship in the 1990s. I think it was a big shock for many to see a person in love with someone of the same sex. Nowadays, it's
Yes.
absolutely common, as it should be. But at the time, it it was super, super surprising. And I was a kid at the time, and I probably didn't know what was a crush. But I really liked a lot of the characters that appeared in cartoons, like Misty. Oh my God, I just remember another person now that we were talking about same sex relationships. There's this girl called Tomoyo from the anime Sakura Card Captor. And Tomoyo was Sakura's best friend in Sakura Card Captor. I used to have a crush on her, and she was also in love with Sakura. Although
Wow.
she was a little bit more of a yandere, which is a Japanese archetype of someone that is madly in love with another character, but that has these obsessive characteristics, you know? Tomoyo was not a yandere per se, but she was quite a bit obsessed with Sakura. She showed extreme adoration, and she used to dress her up. She used to make her costumes and dress her up like a doll.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So, as you can see, a lot of my crushes came from cartoons. Another one that came from a cartoon was from a TV program called Danny Phantom. This was a TV program about a guy who gets sapped by some kind of energy and he becomes a half ghost. Like he can transform into a phantom at will, but his parents are some kind of ghostbusters, I think. So he has to
Okay.
hide his power from his family, thinking that they are going to hate him if they find out. The funny thing is that most, if not all of his enemies actually know his secret identity. Even some of his friends know that he's a ghost superhero. Anyway, I was a bit older when that cartoon came out. I think I was probably 12 or 13. So probably that's why I was so in tune with these characters. I used to have a crush on one of them, the girl called Sam. Sam was Danny's best friend and love interest. I remember she was a bit of a goth. She used to dress all black, black clothes, dark tall boots, black eyeliner, the whole shebang, you know?
Yes.
Obviously, as a teenager, as every teenager in the universe, I used to think that was so badass, that was so awesome and cool, you know? You are so very edgy at that age. And I used to love Sam. She was, oh my god, gorgeous. At the end of the series, they share their true feelings with each other and they become a couple. And I cried a little bit there because that was pretty cool. What about you? Did you watch a lot of cartoons? Do you remember having a crush on any character from a cartoon?
Yeah, I used to watch many cartoons, but I don't remember having a lot of crushes on cartoons. Another one besides Sailor Uranus could be an old Christmas movie cartoon named The Nutcracker. I barely remember being in love with this wooden nutcracker carved in the shape of a little man who brings to life in the night and leads an army of little toys, soldiers through a battle. And in the grand finale, the nutcracker becomes a prince. I remember he had this beautiful black long hair tied in a low tail, And I only watched the movie to see this charming cartoon prince. Another one that I really, really liked was this vampire from the anime Helsing. I think you remember that.
Yeah.
He was a very old and powerful vampire who protects the queen. He usually presents himself as a tall man with wide shoulders and undefined age, always wearing a red hat with his black long hair. He had this mysterious attitude. He was a cruel and ferocious fighter, but he still remains a little bit of humanity. I always loved vampire stories while I was growing up, so it was natural for me that I fell in love with this character.
Wow, I do remember Alucard from Helsing. It's an insane story, and what an anime. Actually, I don't know if you remember, but we learned about that anime in one of our English classes. One of our teachers showed it to us. Fun
Yeah,
fact, after the anime finished, there were some OVAs made that follow the manga a lot closer. You might like them. They are very bloody, and the story is loads more interesting. It's called Helsing Ultimate. And there's a scene when one of the bad guys is singing an opera while destroying a boat, I think.
yeah.
Holy moly. I get chills. I get chills all over my body just remembering that scene.
What a great scene. Eh? Yeah, I started to follow and like that anime because of that.
Yeah. And I just remember another person. This one is probably my all time favorite. She's a real person, and her name is Allison Hannigan. She used to appear
Yeah,
in Buffy, you know? She was one of the supporting characters. In the TV series, her name was Willow. Willow was a witch, and in the first few seasons, she was just like the brainy gal, Buffy's friend that always helped with the research and things like that. After a few seasons, she became a proper witch, and she was super powerful. I don't actually remember why that happened. I stopped watching Buffy because I didn't have cable TV. But yeah, I had a big crush on her. She was so cute, and I've always had a thing for smart people. Not only that, she was quite charming too. She also used to appear in a movie called American Pie. I don't know if you
of
remember.
course. Yeah, yeah. I remember American Pie, a very famous teen movie in its time. I also remember Alison Hannigan as this band geek with a kinky side. With an American Pie, a new era of teen comedies began. I think what made American Pie particularly special was that despite the fact that the film's humor consisted essentially of vulgar sex jokes, it also managed to be kind of sweet in the process. The main characters are a group of likable high school boys who are faced with the task of getting laid, and they are not presented as just brainless assholes with one track minds. They are more like young adults who are simply people who have to deal with ordinary circumstances at some point in their lives, like everybody else.
Yes, I do remember that. And it actually shows the fact that a lot of people at that age, be it boys or girls, are pressured into getting laid so you can be grown up.
Yeah,
Something that luckily, at least I think, has been disappearing in recent years. I think
yeah,
that it spoke to a lot of us on a deeper level, you know? And although we didn't actually understand it, we connected with it. And, anyways, Alison Hannigan was the main character's friend, but at the end of the movie, she becomes his girlfriend and finally his wife after so many movies. Obviously, a lot of things happen during the movie, but I'll leave that to you guys to find out. In this movie, she was a little bit pushy and she was very strong willed, like all of his characters, Lily. Finally, she also appeared in what everybody knows is my favorite TV series of all time, How I Met Your Mother. In there, she was one of the four main characters called Lily. There, she was
Mhm.
Marshall's first girlfriend and then wife. In that sitcom, she was quite witty, she was smart, but she was also a little bit manipulative. But also very charming, loving, and friendly. She was an artist, she was a kindergarten teacher, amongst many other things. She had a great relationship with her husband all through the 9 seasons of the TV series. You see how
Nine
they
seasons.
develop, yes, like they get engaged, then they split up, they get back together, they get married, they have kids, and
Just like in real life.
exactly just like real life. And all through that, they grow, they become more and more interesting, you know? And what about you, Gilly? Do you have any real world crushes?
Yeah, of course. I remember being so freaking in love with Killian Murphy when I was a teen in high school. Killian is well known for many movies. Nowadays, he is in this magnificent English series from the BBC, a historic drama that involves gangsters, war, and politics. But back in my high school era, I was totally obsessed with him and dedicated a lot of my time to investigating the movies he was in. Of course, at that time, the movie rentals were disappearing, you know? So a lot of the titles I had to download using programs like uTorrent and others. The thing with this actor is that every movie I saw of him was absolutely different from the previous one. He's a really, really good actor. He can build an entirely new character for every movie he acted in. So the core of my obsession was completely physical. He has this beautiful, well defined jawline and astonishing blue eyes. Another crush I had more recently was Will Arnett. Will Arnett is the voice of Batman in Batman Lego movie, and he did the voice for BoJack Horseman too. He also participated in a series called Arrested Development. I love Arrested Development, where his character was a complete moron, but an adorable one. I have to say that I fell in love with this actor when I saw him in another Netflix series named Flake. It honestly was a very pretty lame show, but his charisma sustains the whole program.
Oh my god. I just had to do a quick search of the two people that you mentioned. And this guy, Killian Murphy, my god, he's absolutely beautiful. And
Yeah.
as soon as I saw his face, I identified him. He has a very recognizable face, you know? He's actually Irish, and if I'm not mistaken, the series that you're talking about is Peaky Blinders, right?
Yeah, Peaky Blinders. Of
Yes.
yes.
He appeared in so many movies. That's pretty cool. You know, another real person, talking about Netflix, that was one of my biggest crushes is Elliot Page, who appears
Okay.
in on the Umbrella Academy. She used
Mm-hmm.
to be Ellen Page, and I
Yeah.
loved her when she was part of the X-Men franchise. And my god, when she appeared in Juno, I always talked about this with my wife, and we'd always talked about crushes many times in the past. And my god, we both agreed that Ellen Page was absolutely gorgeous. And she actually agrees with me. She thinks that she's quite good looking, but my wife thinks that he could wear better clothes. That's the only thing that she said, that he could wear
Okay.
better clothes. And
Yeah.
I liked her because she was quiet, but she was very powerful as Shadow Cat. Her name is Kitty Pryde, I think. Like the character is Kitty Pryde. She also appeared in Juno, which is a movie about a teenager that gets pregnant at 15 or 16. And the problems she has to endure at school and in her life they are very, very good. She acts alongside Michael Cera, who is the father of the baby, another teenager just like her. And the story is quite interesting. When I saw it as a teenager, it seemed to exemplify so many of the fears that we had as teenagers, especially the fears related to sexuality, and
Mhm.
pregnancy. Also, it had an amazing soundtrack. To this day, I still remember one of the songs called I'm a Vampire or something like that. And I think that this connects a little bit with American Pie. Of the movies which we identified at the time were coming of age stories where the characters explore the pains of growing up. Of course, now that I'm an old man, I don't identify myself as much with those kinds of movies, right?
Yeah, I used to like Michael Cera at some point in time, but it didn't develop into a crush. Even so, I've always thought he was very funny, but in a stereotypical way as the awkward white boy. On the other hand, Elliot Page was always very attractive. At the beginning as Ellen and now as Elliot too. I think he seems more loose and comfy now in his way of being than before. And I'm pretty happy he has found the strength and freedom to be what he really feels like.
Oh my God, yes, 100%. I saw a lot of pictures of him now, and see, he seems so free, so happy. He looks as if he's finally found his true self. That's why I'm happy that there's so much more acceptance now and support for the trans community. Although, as always, we have a few idiots here and there.
Oh God, yes. Tell me about it. A lot of them.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. But I think that there's a lot more acceptance. And
Yeah.
finally, I just remember another real world crush. This is more recent. And this is one that I also share with my wife. Her name is Emilia Clarke, the woman that plays Daenerys Targaryen in the HBO series Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Now, you might not believe this, but I don't like Game of Thrones. I
What?
actually loved her since I saw Me Before You, is the name of the movie. I think that one of the things that I love the most about this woman is her smile. Oh my God, she has a beautiful smile. And in that movie, her character is so naive and well intentioned. She's very endearing. After that, I saw her in a commercial in which she's singing. And I think that she was selling a perfume. It's like, Dime cuando tú verás, something like that. And oh my God, I fell in love just to see her smile. Oof, I get chills.
Yeah, yeah. Emilia Clarke for sure. Mother of Dragons. Yeah. She's very pretty. I don't remember seeing her in another show that wasn't Game of Thrones, but I know she has a few movies. I was a fan of her character in God. I would say I was Team Targaryen for sure, for almost the entire series, until the last season when she becomes the bad guy who has to die.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, yes. That ending was hot garbage, but really hot garbage. I mean, it wasn't very good. They did Daenerys wrong. I think
Yeah.
that it was a little bit of a cop out as they needed to finish the series, and I felt that they had run out of ideas. They didn't have the books to rely on anymore,
Totally. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Looking back at all of the people that I mentioned, they have always been the best friend or the nerdy friend or something like that. I think that I can see a pattern starting to appear.
Yeah. I think I might also have some patterns with the guys that I like. And they are always kind of some sort of hateful comic fools, but charming and endearing in certain ways, like Will Arnett or Adam Devine from Workaholics. But I also like boys who seem pretty and androgynous, like Ezra Miller, who is the Flash in the new
Mhm.
movies, Timothy Chalamet, or Harry Styles. And as well, manly, good-looking men like Killian Murphy or Matt Mikkelsen. I guess I don't have a certain type after all.
Okay, so you don't have a certain type, it looks like.
No, I don't.
All right. Well, it was awesome talking to you today. And everybody, I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. We had a lot of fun discussing some of our crushes. Maybe in the future, in a year or two, we can do a second part with other people that we didn't think of or with some of your ideas.
Yeah.
And as always, don't forget to leave a comment with your own crushes if you have any, or with other topics that you might want to listen to us talk about. For now, thank you very much for listening to us today and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
I am a